Hey guys, good evening. It is 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time on December 10th. Looks like futures trading has begun on Bitcoin. So take a look at our previous video with regards to that. But first, before we get started here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get all of our video and information directly to you. Also, you will see in the description that there is a link to our Facebook page, our trading team. So definitely get involved there too, because there's lots of information that comes to via that channel. So what are we looking at right now? We're looking at the hourly chart for Bitcoin on Bitfinex. And if you see our previous video on trading, we go through a lot of different things that happened prior, and also this downward facing triangle, and also what this horizontal line means. So take a look at that video. We're not going to recap that here, but what you'll see is that the market looks like it's now in some sort of ascending triangle. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens, because this triangle terminates rather quickly, and it's rather shallow. Okay, there's not much depth to it. It's actually kind of topping out right here. So we'll keep an eye on that. Interesting to see what happens there. But let's look at our normal charts that we normally look at with regards to the indicators. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a daily chart on Bitcoin, something that you've seen quite some time if you're familiar with our videos. Bitcoin has had a few interesting past 4 or 5 days here, and it still continues to look like as if it's on a bullish run. The trend strength shows bullish. The D trend also shows bullish, and MACD shows bullish, and the RSI, it's coming from an overbought position. But one of the things we wanted to take a look at here is this trend right here on D trend. Okay, if it breaks substantially, let's actually put a trend line. If it breaks substantially this trend line and creates a new trend that's either going sideways or down, that could be some telling truth regarding what's going to be happening with Bitcoin as far as price movement is concerned. So if this starts going sideways, if the D trend starts going sideways, does not necessarily mean that Bitcoin will be going sideways. Does not necessarily mean that Bitcoin will be going down. Bitcoin could still be going up. However, what that will be showing us is there's some cracks in the foundation, the underlying foundation of the Bitcoin price movement. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Next, let's take a look at Dash. Okay, so Dash, interesting what's going on here. Let's kind of redraw this trend line here. Okay, there's really not much of a trend line to talk about. Okay, the trend line is more along the lines of what we see coming in this opposite direction. Okay, more like this. So this has been on a downtrend for some time, and we have made note of that for quite some time. It was actually going sideways, and now it looks like it's heading south. Okay, RSI is in kind of almost this oversold territory, but what's more interesting here is that the trend strength has just turned from a super bullish position. It turned away from it. Just this little movement right here is telling us that things are changing, first of all. The second thing here is, remember this blue line, if you're familiar with our videos. This blue line serves several different purposes, and one of the purposes it serves is to show that there's a change in trend. So the last day has significantly pierced through this blue line. Now it hasn't closed below it, but this significant piercing of this blue line is telling that there's a very good chance that the trend is changing. So we're going to keep a very good eye on this. If you are currently long Dash, you need to make sure that your protective stops are in place and that your protective stops are at a place that you are comfortable with the risk. Next, let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum is in a similar position as Dash. Okay, the only difference here is that this D trend has topped out some time ago and actually went down. You can see that right here. So also MACD is also turning negative, and the trend strength has changed days ago, about 4 or 5 days ago. So remember prior, we were looking at Dash. Prior, this little tick down on Ether, it happened some days ago. You remember if you go back to our videos, you'll also see that there too. So possibly it looks like Ether may be turning the corner. In other words, it may be instituting a new trend. Now, there's a good chance that trend may be down from this point, or it just may be in a range of consolidation. Right now, the market's gone sideways for quite some time, and we're going to keep an eye on seeing what's happening. But similar to Dash, if you're long Ether, I would also make sure that your stops are in place, that you are willing to lose whatever you lose if the market does go down, and you're also willing to sleep on that risk. Next, IOTA. IOTA has had quite a few interesting days in the past 5-6 days, to say the least. This trend line here is not necessarily something that's applicable to it, but the trend strength is still showing very, very bullish. The D trend has a long positive slope. Okay, if this were to come down much further, it would look as if it is starting to change direction. RSI is coming from a overbought situation, and MACD looks bullish there. So the blue line still is indicating here that the market is far away from it. If the market continues to go sideways, you'll see this blue line tick up. If the market goes up, the same thing will happen. If the market starts coming down, the blue line will stay where it is. So for low risk entries, remember that this blue line is also used for low risk entries. For low risk entries, use the blue line. The market is very overheated, especially with IOTA. Next, Litecoin. Litecoin has a few very big up days. This last day here was somewhat mixed. Still showing very, very bullish regarding the trend strength. The D trend still showing bullish, and so does MACD. So RSI, it's kind of in an overbought position. So bunch of interesting things going on. The market looks rather mixed with regards to what the indicators are showing us. So the biggest risks right now that we see are Dash and Ether. So make sure that you're comfortable with the positions that you are in. With that said, happy trading. Be sure to hit the notification bell, hit the subscribe button, also to click on our Facebook page there, and make sure you like that Facebook page so you get all the information. Anyways, we will leave it with that and talk to you soon.